Do you ever feel like life gave you everything it promised? Comfort, convenience, security. Yet deep down something still feels off. Like no matter how much you achieve or acquire, there's this silent echo inside saying, "This isn't it. This can't be all there is." But you're not alone. In fact, it's one of the strangest paradoxes of our time. We have climate-controlled homes, endless entertainment, the sum of human knowledge in our pockets, and yet rates of anxiety, depression, and burnout are skyrocketing. We have more than any generation before us, but also somehow less. Why is that? The answer isn't out there in another app, another course, or another vacation. It's inside you, and it's been inside you all along. See, there's a truth that ancient sages, monks, and mystics understood for centuries. A truth modern life has almost completely forgotten. The quality of your life is determined not by what happens around you, but by what you cultivate within you. Sounds simple, right? But if it's that simple, why are so many people unhappy? Because somewhere along the way, we traded sovereignty over our inner world for the constant stimulation of the outer one. We became experts at controlling nature, but amateurs at governing our own minds. We learned to build cities, rockets, and smartphones, but we never learned to stop the endless chatter in our heads, the overthinking, the anxiety loops, the self-criticism. And here's the dangerous part. A person who can't master their own state becomes easy to manipulate. Think about it. If your mood, your energy, your sense of worth are all tied to external things, likes on a screen, a promotion, someone else's approval, you're not free. You're on a leash, and the world will happily keep pulling it. But what happens when you learn to cut that leash? When you discover that peace, clarity, even joy aren't gifts the world gives you, but powers you can generate from within. That's when everything changes. Imagine this. Two people wake up on the same rainy Monday morning. One curses the weather, complains about traffic, arrives at work already exhausted. The other takes the same rain as a cue for calm, drives in silence, walks in with a clear mind. Same world, different experience. The difference wasn't the weather, it was the state they carried into it. And this is where most people miss the point. We think freedom means changing the world until it finally gives us what we want. But real freedom begins when you learn to choose your inner state regardless of what the world is doing. It begins the moment you stop being a puppet pulled by circumstances and start being the one who decides how you feel, how you respond, how you live. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a skill, a discipline. The monks called it interior mastery. Modern science might call it emotional regulation, cognitive reframing, neuroplasticity. The name doesn't matter. The point is it works. Because here's the thing. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you dwell on, every mental picture you rehearse, it all trains your nervous system. You are literally building the chemistry of your future with the states you sustain today. This is why two people can live in the same city, face the same challenges, yet one walks around calm, creative, alive, while the other lives in constant stress and fear. The difference isn't luck, it's training. But nobody teaches us this, do they? School teaches math, history, formulas. Work teaches skills, deadlines, procedures. Society teaches us to chase money, status, security. But where's the class on mastering your own mind? Where's the education on attention, imagination, and inner peace? It doesn't exist. Maybe because a population that can govern itself from within is a lot harder to control from the outside. A person who learns to master their internal state stops being predictable, stops being reactive, stops being easy to manipulate with fear or reward. And that kind of person, they become powerful in a way no system can control. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean rejecting the modern world. Technology, medicine, science, they've given us incredible gifts. The problem is thinking those gifts can replace inner work. They can't. A new phone won't quiet an anxious mind. A bigger house won't fill an empty heart. Because comfort and freedom are not the same thing. Comfort makes life easier on the outside. Freedom makes life better on the inside. And freedom begins the moment you stop outsourcing your peace to things you can't control and start practicing mastery over what you can. So how do you actually do that? First, you learn to see the mental loops that keep you stuck. You know the ones, replaying that mistake from last week, worrying about a future that hasn't happened, hearing the same critical voice on repeat. Step one is realizing, this is happening in me, but it is not me. That tiny bit of distance is everything. Step two is interrupting the loop. Take a breath. Drop your shoulders. Refuse to follow the old story any further. Step three, plant something new. Your mind hates a vacuum. If you just stop the old pattern but don't replace it, it will come back stronger. So instead, give it a new picture, a new sentence, a new state to rehearse. Instead of "I'm always anxious," try "I live from calm clarity." At first it might feel fake. That's okay. You've been rehearsing the old state for years. Give the new one a chance to grow roots. Because what you repeat with feeling becomes the climate of your life. Do this before sleep too. That moment when you're drifting off, it's powerful. The critical mind softens. The imagination opens. Instead of replaying the day's mistakes, rewrite them. See yourself handling things the way you wish you had. End the mental movie with peace, with confidence, with resolution. Do this long enough and you start to notice something. Your mornings feel lighter, your reactions softer, your choices clearer. Because you're no longer living as a victim of random thoughts and emotions. You're living as someone who chooses their state on purpose. And when you change your state, you change your life. People feel it too. A calm person in a room full of chaos changes the room. A clear mind in a meeting full of stress changes the meeting. This is why inner mastery isn't selfish work. It's the most generous thing you can do. Because the world doesn't need more noise, more reactivity, more fear. It needs people who can stay centered when everything shakes, who can choose clarity when confusion spreads, who can meet anger without becoming it. But here's the part most people miss. This is a practice, not a one-time epiphany. You don't go to the gym once and expect to stay fit forever. You don't meditate once and expect lifelong peace. Freedom isn't a destination. It's a skill you keep cultivating. Every day you get the chance to choose. Will I repeat the old loops, or will I practice a new state? Will I live as a reaction, or as a deliberate creation? Because make no mistake, life will keep giving you triggers. That's not going to stop. But your reaction, that's yours to train. And when you learn to do that, you stop waiting for the world to finally be perfect before you can feel free. You start living free now. Imagine a society where kids learn this from the start, where schools teach not just information, but how to master attention, imagination, and emotion. Imagine workplaces run by leaders who govern their own minds instead of spreading stress like a virus. Imagine families modeling calm, clarity, and confidence instead of anxiety and anger. That's not utopia. That's the real potential of human beings when we stop living as victims of our own minds. The world out there will always be unpredictable, but the world in here, that can be trained. And once you learn to master this inner world, life stops feeling like something that just happens to you. It starts feeling like something you get to create, not someday. Not when everything finally goes your way. Now. Because the real secret is this: freedom isn't out there waiting for you. It's been inside you all along.